History was made tonight, and I'm not talking about just another championship change or surprise return. Roman Reigns just unleashed his new Shield at Night of Champions, and the WWE Universe is experiencing a collective meltdown that's breaking the internet as we speak. You won't believe who joined the Tribal Chief, and trust me, this revelation is going to completely rewrite everything you thought you knew about WWE's power structure. But here's what's really insane about tonight's events. This wasn't just a surprise reunion thrown together for shock value. This was a calculated chess move that's been months in the making, and the clues were hiding in plain sight. While we were all focused on Solo Sikoa's rebellion and Seth Rollins' behind-the-scenes manipulation, Roman was orchestrating something far more devastating. Think about it. When was the last time you saw an entire arena go from deafening cheers to stunned silence in the span of 3 seconds? When was the last time you witnessed grown men in the front row literally drop their jaws and forget to close them? That's exactly what happened when those lights came back on, and what we saw standing in that ring defied every prediction, every rumor, and every so-called insider report that's been circulating for months. The Shield was supposed to be dead and buried. Dean Ambrose left WWE years ago, Seth Rollins has been playing corporate games, and Roman was supposed to be dealing with his fractured bloodline. But tonight proved that Roman Reigns doesn't just adapt to chaos, he creates it, controls it, and uses it to remind everyone why he's called the Tribal Chief. Here's what nobody saw coming. This isn't just about reforming the Shield. This is about Roman taking the most dominant faction in WWE history and making it even more dangerous by combining it with the most feared members of his own family tree. We're not just witnessing a reunion, we're watching the birth of something that could dominate WWE for the next decade. The arena erupted, social media crashed, and backstage, you could see the panic in certain people's eyes. Because everyone just realized that the game they thought they were playing? Roman just flipped the entire board, scattered the pieces, and set up a completely new game where he holds all the power. Stay with me through this entire breakdown, because I'm going to show you exactly how this moment connects to storylines that have been building for over a year, why certain people are absolutely terrified right now, and what this means for every major WWE event between now and WrestleMania. This isn't just wrestling news, this is the moment that changed everything. The WWE Universe is still recovering from the most shocking moment of Night of Champions 2025, when Roman Reigns resurrected the Shield with 2 brand new members, and let me paint you the complete picture of just how earth-shattering this moment truly was. For months, we've been watching Solo Sikoa's rebel bloodline with Akulio and Tama Tonga running rampant through WWE programming, systematically dismantling everything Roman built during his historic championship reign. Meanwhile, Seth Rollins has been pulling strings behind the scenes with his faction featuring Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed, positioning himself as the puppet master of WWE's new era. The wrestling world had accepted that Roman's time at the top was over, that the bloodline civil war had weakened him beyond repair. But Roman Reigns just proved why he's the master of long-term storytelling and psychological warfare. This wasn't just a reunion, it was a complete reinvention of WWE's most dominant faction, and it changes absolutely everything about the Bloodline saga that's been captivating audiences for over 3 years. Here's what made this moment so perfectly executed. The setup was flawless. The arena went completely black during what seemed like a routine segment, and then that iconic Shield siren, the sound that once struck fear into the hearts of every WWE superstar, blared through the speakers for the first time in years. The crowd's reaction was immediate and visceral. You could hear 20,000 people collectively holding their breath, because everyone knew that sound meant something monumental was about to happen. But when those lights returned, what we saw standing in that ring wasn't just shocking, it was strategically brilliant. Roman stood flanked by Jey Uso and Jacob Fatu, all 3 dressed in black Shield tactical gear, fists raised in that familiar pose that once dominated WWE programming. The visual was absolutely perfect, the original Shield's intensity combined with the Bloodline's family bond and Jacob Fatu's terrifying presence. The crowd's reaction was unlike anything I've witnessed in recent memory. The initial pop was deafening, but then something incredible happened. A wave of stunned silence swept through the arena as people processed what they were seeing. You could literally watch the realization hit different sections of the crowd at different moments, creating this ripple effect of shock and awe. Jay's smirk told the entire story of his character development over the past year. This wasn't the conflicted cousin torn between family loyalty and personal ambition. This was a man who had found his purpose and chosen his side definitively. Jacob's roar, that primal, intimidating sound that has become his signature, sent chills through everyone watching, because it represented the fusion of the Shield's tactical precision with the Bloodline's raw, untamed power. But it was Roman's cold, calculated statement that truly drove home the magnitude of this moment. The Shield was never about the past. It was about ruling the future. Those words weren't just a catchphrase, they were a declaration of war against everyone who thought Roman Reigns was finished and a promise that this new era would be even more dominant than anything we'd seen before. Then chaos erupted, and what followed was 5 minutes of pure, unfiltered mayhem that will be replayed and analyzed for years to come. Seth Rollins' faction charged the ring in what can only be described as a desperate attempt to prevent this new alliance from gaining momentum, leading to an all-out war that showcased exactly why this new Shield formation is going to be absolutely unstoppable. The moment Seth's music hit and he stormed down the ramp with Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed, you could see the calculation in his eyes. This wasn't just about stopping a reunion, this was about preventing the formation of a faction that could completely derail his own plans for WWE dominance. Seth has spent months positioning himself as the architect of WWE's new landscape, but Roman just reminded everyone who the real master builder is. What happened next was a masterclass in controlled chaos. Jacob Fatu immediately established himself as the most dangerous member of this new Shield by spearing Braun Breaker with such devastating force that he sent the former NXT champion crashing through the barricade and into the front row. The impact was so violent that security had to check on fans in the first 3 rows, and Breaker didn't move for a full 30 seconds. This wasn't just a wrestling move, it was a statement that this new Shield operates on a completely different level of intensity. Meanwhile, Jey Uso reminded everyone why he's one of the most explosive performers in WWE by delivering a super kick to Seth Rollins that was so perfectly timed and executed that it sent the former world champion flying backward into what looked like next week. The sound of that kick connecting echoed through the arena, and you could see Seth's eyes roll back as he crumpled to the mat. This wasn't the conflicted Jey we've seen struggling with family loyalty, this was a man operating with complete confidence and devastating precision. But here's what made this brawl so significant. It wasn't random violence. Every move, every attack, every moment of this chaos served a specific purpose in establishing the hierarchy and capabilities of this new faction. Roman orchestrated the entire sequence like a conductor leading a symphony of destruction, pointing and directing his new Shield members with the same tactical precision that made the original Shield so dominant. The most telling moment came when Bronson Reed tried to use his size advantage against Jacob Fatu, only to discover that Jacob's combination of power and agility makes him virtually unstoppable in close combat. Reed, who has been presented as an unstoppable monster, looked genuinely shocked when Jacob not only absorbed his best shots but responded with a series of strikes that left the big man staggered and confused. By the time security and referees flooded the ring to restore order, the message was crystal clear. This new Shield doesn't just match the original's dominance, it exceeds it. The combination of Roman's leadership, Jey's explosive athleticism, and Jacob's terrifying power creates a dynamic that no current faction in WWE can match. Seth's faction, which looked so formidable just minutes earlier, was left scattered and broken, a perfect metaphor for what's about to happen to the entire WWE landscape. This game-changing reveal raises epic questions that are going to reshape every WWE storyline moving forward, and the implications are so far-reaching that we're going to be analyzing this moment for months to come. Let me break down the 5 most significant questions that this new Shield formation has created, because each one represents a potential storyline that could dominate WWE programming through WrestleMania and beyond. First, Jey Uso's return to Roman's side completely shatters Solo Sikoa's rebellion. But was this planned all along? Think about Jey's behavior over the past few months, every moment of apparent conflict with Roman, every instance where he seemed torn between family loyalty and personal ambition. What if all of that was an elaborate setup designed to make Solo believe he had successfully turned the family against their tribal chief? The psychological warfare implications are staggering. If Roman and Jey have been playing the long game, it means Solo's entire rebellion was built on a foundation of lies and manipulation. Second, Jacob Fatu as a Shield member is absolutely terrifying, and his addition makes this faction potentially unstoppable. Jacob brings a level of raw, uncontrolled violence that the original Shield never possessed. Dean Ambrose was unpredictable, but Jacob is genuinely dangerous in a way that transcends typical wrestling storytelling. His power combined with the Shield's tactical precision creates a combination that no current WWE faction can match. The question isn't whether this new Shield can dominate, it's whether anyone can survive their dominance. Third, Paul Heyman's visible panic during this reveal tells us everything we need to know about how this changes the power structure. Heyman, the master manipulator who has survived every political shift in WWE for decades, looked genuinely shaken by this development. His carefully laid plans for managing the Bloodline Civil War just went up in smoke, and his money in the bank briefcase suddenly seems like a much less valuable insurance policy. When Paul Heyman looks worried, everyone should be worried. Fourth, Seth Rollins just lost his strategic advantage, and the ramifications are enormous. Seth has spent months positioning himself as the puppet master of WWE's new era, building alliances and manipulating situations to his benefit. But Roman just reminded everyone that when it comes to long-term planning and strategic thinking, there's only one true tribal chief. Seth's faction, which looked so formidable just hours ago, now appears woefully outmatched against this new Shield formation. Finally, Solo Sikoa's reaction. Backstage footage shows him smashing a locker in absolute fury, reveals just how completely this development has derailed his plans. Solo believed he had successfully orchestrated a family coup, that he had turned the bloodline against Roman and positioned himself as the new head of the table. But Roman just proved that he's always been 3 steps ahead, and Solo's rebellion was never the threat he believed it to be. With SummerSlam looming just weeks away, this new Shield era could completely redefine WWE's future. Every championship, every storyline, every carefully planned narrative arc just became secondary to the question of whether anyone can stop this new dominant force that Roman has unleashed upon the WWE Universe. Roman Reigns just rewrote the entire WWE landscape by reforming the Shield with Jey Uso and Jacob Fatu, and the wrestling world will never be the same. This wasn't just a surprise return or a nostalgic reunion. This was a calculated power play that demonstrates why Roman Reigns remains the most dominant force in professional wrestling, even when everyone counted him out. Let's put this moment in proper perspective. For months, wrestling fans and industry insiders have been writing Roman's obituary. The Bloodline Civil War was supposed to be his downfall. Solo Sikoa's rebellion was meant to end his reign of dominance. Seth Rollins' behind-the-scenes maneuvering was positioned as the new power structure. But Roman just proved that while everyone else was playing checkers, he was playing 4D chess on a board that nobody else could even see. With Seth's faction now on the run and Solo's rebels completely shaken to their core, the Tribal Chief's reign is far from over. It's entering a new, more dangerous phase. This new Shield combines everything that made the original faction dominant with the family bonds and raw power that have defined the Bloodline era. We're not just witnessing the return of the Shield, we're watching the evolution of WWE's most successful faction into something even more formidable. The immediate implications are staggering. Every championship picture just changed. Every carefully planned storyline just got turned upside down. Every wrestler who thought they understood the current power structure just realized they'd been operating with incomplete information. Roman didn't just reform the Shield, he created a faction that could dominate WWE for the next decade. But here's the million-dollar question that's going to drive WWE programming for months to come. Will Seth Rollins cash in his Money in the Bank briefcase to try to stop them? Seth's window of opportunity is rapidly closing, and this new Shield formation makes any cash-in attempt exponentially more dangerous. How do you cash in on a champion who's protected by Jey Uso's explosive offense and Jacob Fatu's terrifying power? How do you plan for a faction that operates with this level of tactical precision and family loyalty? The war begins on SmackDown, and every WWE fan needs to be watching because we're about to witness a complete reshaping of the wrestling landscape. This isn't just about one faction versus another. This is about Roman Reigns proving once again that he doesn't just adapt to change. He creates it, controls it, and uses it to remind everyone why he's called the Tribal Chief. Smash that subscribe button right now and turn on notifications, because the next few months of WWE programming are going to be absolutely unmissable. Comment below and let me know, can this new Shield be stopped? What do you think Seth Rollins' next move will be? And most importantly, are you ready for the most dominant era in WWE history? The Shield has been reborn, the Tribal Chief has reclaimed his throne, and the wrestling world will never be the same. Comment #Shield Reborn if you agree.